It is my pleasure to introduce the speaker for this particular session. This session will be taken by Brittney Oddo, who is an award-winning content writer, a social media strategist, an author, and speaker who helps entrepreneurs drive a higher level of impact and income through consistently generating content. She also runs According to Brittney, that is according to Brittney, oneword.com, a blog that guides women through adulting entrepreneurship, including marketing. So let's just quickly jump through Brittney and she'll take over. Enjoy the session and do post comments in your questions, which we will take after the session. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. Hi, WordCamp Kent. I'm so excited to be here virtually, which is super cool. This is my fourth WordCamp Kent, so I'm excited to be a part of this virtual conference for the first time. Thank you guys all for joining me for my session today. I'm going to be talking about success on social media. So if that's what you're here for, you're in the right place. So just to kind of reiterate, I'm Brittney Oddo. I'm a marketing specialist at a specialty chemicals company. I'm also a content writer and social media strategist at According to Brittney. I'm born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm a certified cat mom to my lovely fur child, Luna, that you see here in the corner. She normally would join me on these types of calls, but she is currently with my husband, who is her cat dad. So that's who I am. And today we do have an agenda. We're going to be talking about how social media works and how you can make it work for your business. We're going to be talking about the Facebook algorithm and what features will work for you. We're going to talk about the influencer model and how you can use it to grow your following on Instagram and create engaging Instagram content. And of course, I always like to include a section about social media self-care for entrepreneurs who use social media every day, like myself, and just how to make sure you're taking care of yourself, even though even when you're using social media. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So we're going to start with how social media works. So one kind of way I like to think about it is social media is a lot like online dating. So like think about if you're online dating, you're always putting your best foot forward. You create your profile and you put your best picture, you describe yourself in the best way, and you think about who it is that you're trying to attract. You're trying to attract, Mr. Tall, Dark, and Handsome, or whatever it may be for you. And so you're putting that message out there. And it's the same way with social media. You have to think about who it is that you are and what you want to present to people, and also what you want to attract when you're posting online. So it's a lot like, it's very similar in how you can, and it's a good way to think about it. Like, what am I doing to make sure I am attracting the right people to my business, just like you would if you're on an online dating site and you're trying to attract the perfect soulmate. So that's kind of one fun way to look at it. And that's going to come from your messaging. So what I like to call your messaging, I do this exercise with my clients where we talk about content pillars and we develop content pillars for my audience. So what content pillars are is they're perfect if you're someone who's struggling to figure out what to write or how to define your message. Content pillars will help you really focus in your message and make sure that you're positioning yourself as an expert. So I'm going to do like a quick run through of the exercise of how to create your own content pillar so you can have more defined messaging. So I'm going to use an example of one of my clients. She's a makeup artist and a beauty coach, and she works primarily with mothers who deal with depression. So that's the first step with developing your content pillars. It's just identifying what it is that you do. So like for me, I do social media marketing, I do content writing for entrepreneurs. So it's kind of just basically like, what do you do? Then the next part is you decide how do you transform your client. So how do you take what it is that you do and actually make an impact for your audience and for your clients? And so for this particular example, she helps mothers feel beautiful and confident, which improves their quality of life. And she does this through makeup and wellness. So now that we kind of have like what it is that she does, what it is that she does to transform her clients, we take from kind of what we've come up with based on those factors, because that's what's important. And that's what's important to our clients, how you're going to transform them and what it is that you do. Then we come up with 3 to 5 specific words or phrases that can align her messaging. So we came up with makeup and beauty, obviously, because she's a makeup artist. Wellness, because she wants to focus on mothers, and she wants to focus on particularly mothers who deal with depression, and she wants to help them find ways to cope with it. And then, of course, motherhood, because she is a mother and she's also targeting mothers. So when we're thinking of her content, she's going to be focused on these 3 words: makeup and beauty, wellness, and motherhood. So for someone who is looking for those things or looking for that type of support with whatever it is that they need, they're more likely to find her because her content and her messaging is already positioned around those 3 things, and it sets her up as an expert. So when people are thinking like, I need help with makeup, or I am a mother and I want to learn more about it, then they're more likely to find her. So once you have your content pillars, you can start developing topics off of these pillars and break them down even further. But the best thing about it is that even though you're breaking them down even further, you still are positioning yourself within that umbrella of the 3 to 5 content pillars that you created. So like for me, my content pillars are social media, content, and and when I'm creating content around those things, so let's say I'm focusing on my social media content pillar. Well, under that is Instagram. I could talk about Facebook. I can talk about Facebook ads. I could talk about, I could talk about all kinds of things under that, but I'm still over that umbrella of social media, which is the word that I want people to know me for. That's the key part of my message that I want to be known for. So even though I'm diving deeper into this pillar and can talk about so many different things, I'm still talking about the things that are important and I want to be known for, and I want to attract people who also are interested in that message. So that's the great thing about it, because it helps you focus in, because there's a lot of times there's so much we can talk about when in our industry. Like we can, if I just said like, oh, I'm a marketing person, I could talk about marketing. Well, there's so much in marketing. There's trade shows, there's print ads, there's so much underneath that. But just kind of honing in and saying, okay, I'm going to be an expert. I'm going to focus my message on social media and content. Well, then I'm going to be more likely to reach that audience. And if I'm trying to talk about all the things under the sun. And I'm like I said, positioning myself as an expert. So for my client who is a makeup artist, we kind of see how she can break down those content pillars into different topics. So for motherhood, she could talk about being a boy mom, juggling kids in a career, things to do with family. For beauty, she can talk about makeup tips. She can talk about how to feel beautiful without makeup, hiring a makeup artist. For wellness, she can talk about self-care for mothers, achieving inner confidence, coping with depression, all these different things that she can talk about. But at the end of the day, they're all still related to that content pillar, which is the pillar around her messages, holding her message up and positioning her as an expert. So this is a really great way if you're someone who struggles with content, struggles with writing. Take some time to identify what you do, identify how you transform your clients, and then create your content pillars and break them down further from that. And so when you're creating content, you can say, okay, I'm going to focus around this pillar. I'm going to focus around this topic that's within my messaging, and it makes it easier for you to create content, and it also helps you attract the people who are interested, and they see you as an expert because these are the topics that you're honing in on and that you're sharing your expertise on. So that is what I have for messaging. So next, we're going to talk about Facebook. Facebook, I'm sure we all know Facebook and we're all on Facebook. So I'm going to talk about just some Facebook basics for you to keep in mind. So the dreaded Facebook algorithm is the first thing I'm going to talk about. You probably have the same face that this cat has when you think about Facebook and the algorithm and using Facebook for your business, because sometimes it's just like, it's maddening how it works and how, just trying to understand it and get used to using it for your business. So I wanted to real quick talk about the Facebook algorithm and just give you an idea of how it works. So when you're creating content for Facebook, you can kind of keep these things in mind. So the way that the Facebook works in like basic terms is that the way that Facebook kind of creates your news feed is that they basically give all the posts that come up on your feed a score, and they rank those different posts based on your engagement on Facebook. So if you like certain things, if you comment on certain things, even if you're scrolling and you read something. So if you're scrolling and you stop and read something, Facebook is taking notice of these actions that you're taking on their platform, and they're giving things that are similar to that a score. So they're scoring things based on your interests, based on how you use the app. And so that's why a lot of times you see a lot of the same content, or you see content that's very similar when you're on Facebook, is because that's what Facebook's trying to do. They want to make sure that they're giving you content that they believe that you will like. So that's their main focus. And the reason that the whole purpose behind this is Facebook's job, and their mission is to keep you on Facebook. They want you to stay on Facebook. They want you to be scrolling. They want you to be on as long as possible. So they're always going to be thinking of what content can I put in front of this person that they will enjoy, so that they'll stay on longer and that they'll be scrolling longer. Because the longer they're staying on our platform, the longer they're scrolling, the longer they're using our products, the longer they're seeing ads and interacting with advertising, which is a huge part of Facebook's strategy as a business. So those are things that you as a marketer have to keep in mind, that Facebook's goal is to keep people on Facebook, and Facebook is scoring content based on what other people are doing. So as a content writer, as a content creator, it's our job to make sure that we're creating content that's engaging, creating content that people like to see and that people will engage with. And it's our job to also kind of fall into the keeping people on Facebook. And there's, different ways that you can do that. I'm going to talk about that. But just to kind of give you an idea of like how Facebook works and why things are kind of show up the way that they do. So let's talk about some different features that you can use on Facebook that will help you with your Facebook marketing. So first one is Facebook groups. I'm sure a lot of you are in Facebook groups or use them or even have your own Facebook groups. Facebook groups are really great. And the example I have up here is Become a Social Media Manager with Rachel Peterson. She's a business coach, and she helps social media managers become social media managers and start that business. And so Facebook groups are great because they actually do have a higher reach than business pages. So like I said, one of Facebook's main goals is to make sure you're staying on Facebook so you're seeing more advertisements. And with that is with Facebook pages, a lot of times your business page is basically just an advertisement. So the reason that they kind of bring the reach down on Facebook pages is because they want business owners like us to make sure we're spending money on ads so we're getting more reach. So we've seen over the years that the reach on Facebook pages has gone down. But quite the opposite with groups, we actually see a lot of engagement and a lot of reach with Facebook groups. So Facebook groups are all about engagement first. So that's how groups fit into Facebook, and their message and their goals is that, they want people to think about engagement. So when you're thinking about, Facebook groups, keep that in mind. It's all about engagement. Then also it's about genuine connections, which is another thing that Facebook wants. They want people to connect because that's another way. If you're connecting with people on Facebook and you're, enjoying that time you're enjoying your time on Facebook, you're spending more time on Facebook. So a lot of times in groups, you'll see that happening where you can make connections, you can, talk to people and find people who are interested in the same things. And Facebook is always improving groups. So of course, they're always improving everything. But over the last few years, we've definitely seen a lot of improvements come to groups like insights, and you can create units in your group. So you can create courses and things like that. So Facebook is definitely putting a lot of time and money into it. And when Facebook is, for Facebook, creating a small change on our app or on what we see is, a huge project for them. It takes a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of resources. So that means that they care about that. So it's, as a marketer, that's a signal okay, if they're putting time and effort into that, then that means that's a place where I should be. So you can have your own Facebook groups. You can engage in Facebook groups. There's tons of Facebook groups around everything. I'm in a lot of entrepreneur groups, things like that, where I can talk to other business owners and connect with them and, befriend them, and you never know where those connections can lead to. I've definitely had Facebook groups where it led to clients. So Facebook groups are a great tool to use for your business. Next is a business page. So you'll see here, this is Rachel Peterson's business page. Just because, reach isn't as great as it used to be, doesn't mean you shouldn't have a Facebook page. You should still use Facebook business pages. They're really good for searchability. They have lots of business focused tools because it is a business page. So you can create events, you can add services, you can get reviews, you can use Messenger and talk directly to your clients. So they're definitely, it's definitely good to still have a business page and use it. And also it can be used for ads. So, you can create ads with your Facebook business page. And when you're thinking of content, just sharing kind of the same thing, going back to your messaging that we talked about, sharing relevant content consistently, and making sure that consistency part is very, very crucial. Making sure that you're not just, okay, I'm going to post when I have something, or I'm going to post, making a clear schedule where you're dedicating time to it. You're going to see better results as far as engagement and leads if you're consistent. So I have clients who, it doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to post every single day. So I tell my clients, find the place where it's good for you, as far as you can create content and you can create quality content. So that might not be every day. Sometimes if we're trying to post every day, our quality of our content goes down, and that's not doing anyone any good if you don't post quality content. So I have clients who we literally post 3 times a week. We post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they've seen lots of engagement from that just because they are being consistent. That's the key. They're being consistent, and their content is really great because they are, doing what, if you're a small team, if you're, one person operation, and, you might not be able to hire someone on for this or dedicate time to it, just find something that is, the way that you can do it where it's consistent for you, where you can still keep up that quality. So that's Facebook business pages. And I am going to share just a little bit about Facebook personal pages, because I did talk about groups. And I know a lot of us, if you have a business page, you have to have a personal page. And so, I know there's different kind of philosophies on how to use your personal page. Some people don't put anything about their business on their personal page, and that's fine. Some people do. I definitely encourage you to, use your personal page as you can. I try to use it as kind of like a mix. I post things about my business, I post things about my personal life, but this is like free real estate for you, where you can put things about your business. So like you'll see, for example, I have in the cover photo of my personal page, I have just a link, just saying like, hey, this is me. I'm Brittney Moffitt, which isn't my last name anymore. And I actually made that after I got married, so that's like the worst part about it. But it says Brittney Moffitt. It's it says what I do, and it has a link to my website, really, and it's branded to my business. Very simple. And then also too, if you click on that picture, it takes you straight to my website. Like the caption has a link to my website. So, keep those things in mind. Like, if you're running a business and if you're using Facebook groups, especially, you're probably commenting and talking as your own personal page. So what will people see when they go to your personal page? Do they see anything about your business? Do they see what you do? Because this is places where you can promote your business. So I have here, like, this is what I do. I have, I'm a content writer, I'm a social media strategist. And you'll see this little smaller box on the here is what comes up when someone hovers over your profile. So same thing, I have my little cover photo, it has a little bit of information about me. So just keep that in mind, especially if you're using groups. You don't want to have something you definitely don't want to have anything on your personal page that's offensive or inappropriate, especially if you're, talking as your business at all. But, even if you're not using your personal page for those kinds of things, just having something where if someone were to stumble across your page, they at least know that you're an entrepreneur, even if it's just a cover photo or just a link or just in your bio. It's good to do, because people do, like, think about how much time you spend Facebook stalking or Instagram stalking. Like, we spend a lot of time doing these activities and finding these things. So it's a good practice. So that's Facebook. So let's go ahead and move on to Instagram. First thing you always have to think about with Instagram is obviously your images. So Instagram images are huge because that you can't post on Instagram without images. So key things to keep in mind, high quality images are going to perform better on Instagram. And of course, they make you look more professional. So this is where stock photos come in handy. So you'll see here, I have some stock photos. You can find stock photo sites all over. For some like free sites, I use Pexels. I use Canva. They've partnered with Pexels, and they have a wonderful library of stock photos that I use often for my clients. And it's just, again, gives you that more professional look. And it's going to perform better than something that's grainy or looks off. That's important. That's something to keep in mind. Next is lifestyle images. I will 100% say as a social media manager across the board, pictures of people tend to perform better than graphics, 100%. If you post a picture of yourself versus posting a picture of a graphic, you're most likely going to get more engagement. People love to see people. They want to see your face. They want to see you. And it does a good job of making you seem human if they can see your face and see who you are as a person, behind your business. So you can post pictures of yourself. It doesn't always have to be like this, great image, but, posting something where, it's just about your life. Like I post a lot about like my cat or, just things outside of, because people love my cat. Like she's pretty much the star according to Brittney. It's not me, it's more her. So I'll post things about her or, pictures of myself, and I'll, in the caption, I have all my tips and all the, great content, but I'm capturing them in with the images because that's just how that's how Instagram works. And you'll also see that on Facebook too. Like you always see like what's the things that get the most engagement on Facebook, engagement announcements, weddings, baby announcements, all that stuff. It's seeing the people. It's seeing, it's kind of playing into that. The fact that most people use Instagram and Facebook to just connect with their friends, not necessarily for business. And so as a marketer, you kind of have to take that into account. Next is videos. Videos, all across the board, again, typically perform the best. There's lots of things you can do with stories. They have great video editing features. TikTok is a great one. I know a lot of people have been talking about TikTok. I love TikTok, and I've done a lot of times where I'll take my TikToks that I created on that platform and I'll actually share them to Instagram. So I'm repurposing the content. So I'm not creating double content, and I get that same engagement, and a lot of times more engagement than some of my other like photos and things like that, because video does tend to do a lot better. So just some ideas of how you can, not make more work for yourself and all, but still like have that, like I'll do TikToks where I'm like sharing tips about social media. And so I'm sharing that on TikTok. People can see it on TikTok. Then I take it, I share it on Instagram, and my, following on Instagram who cares about those topics, they also get that really good content. So keep that in mind for when you're thinking of what to post on Instagram. Next is captions. So, your caption is very important as well. First thing you can, when you're kind of thinking of what to say for Instagram, storytelling. Tell a story. Talk about how you transform your client. Have you overcome something that, makes a really good story? Like I shared a story not so long ago about being an entrepreneur class as a college sophomore or junior. And I was so nervous, and I didn't feel like I could be an entrepreneur. I didn't feel like I was qualified or feel like I could be an entrepreneur. And then, cut to now, or I'm out of college, I've graduated, I've, I started a business, I built it, and I did it, kind of talking about overcoming that. It kind of has that inspirational for someone who, as an entrepreneur, they see that and it inspires them, and that makes them want to follow and makes them want to, learn more about me and learn more about my business. So those are really great stories. Or something that's funny that your audience can relate to. Like those, things, funny stories that you can talk about. People love stories, and I'm sure you have a lot of stories in your business that you don't even realize that could be really good content that, happen day to day, or, just this funny story that could be content that other people can relate to and will make them want to follow you and make them want to learn more about you. Next is always current events and trends. So, Memes are a good, a good way to connect with people. People love humor, and they can be created really easily. Like if I create a meme, I'll use Canva, free graphic design tool. You can use the explore page, and you can, follow news, see what's trending, things like that, and you can, tie that into your own content. So keep that in mind when you're trying to think of things that are going on. Like I know for me, like for my clients, we had with everything going on with the pandemic, we had a lot of content planned out, and we saw what was going on in the world, and things closing down, and so we actually rewrote a lot of content to kind of be more mindful of what was going on, and especially with what's going on now. It's kind of the same thing, being mindful of what's going on, tying that into your content in a thoughtful and meaningful way. Is very important. So keep that in mind when you're thinking of your Instagram captions. And then of course your call to action. So like always, give your audience a next step, whether it's to engage, asking questions. I'll do a lot of times where I ask a question at the end, and people will come and say, they want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about, they want to engage in that topic. To follow, of course, you always want people to make sure they're following, or to buy. It can be to, lead them to your lead them to your products, lead them to your services, even, leading them to other content like blogs, things like that. It's definitely a good idea to always end your post with a really good call to action, whatever it is that might be. It could just be asking a question. It could be DMing you. Like a lot of times I'll say on Instagram, like, hey, if you want to learn more about this or have any questions, feel free to DM me, because it seems it's a little bit more like informal, a little bit more like not intimidating. So that's a call to action that I'll often use. Okay, hashtags. So Instagram hashtags. So if you're trying to think of hashtags, make use of the Discover page. So if you go to your Instagram, there is a little magnifying glass, and it comes up of all kinds of content that's going on, things that are trending, things that are going on. Research hashtags that are relevant to your brand and who you're trying to attract. So a lot of times I'll look up hashtags like women in business, or entrepreneurs, or social media management. And a lot when you click on those hashtags, a lot of times what will happen is it'll give you more hashtags that people are using. And then you can, use those hashtags yourself, and when you post, your content will be featured on those Discover pages. So look at hashtags from top posts, and also other popular brands that are using, or your competitors. What hashtags are they using? And see if there's anything you can pull for yourself. You can use up to 30 hashtags, but it's actually becoming less common to do that. Instagram suggests use around 3 to 5. I'll use around 5 to 10 hashtags, and I'll try to space them out with using hashtags so when you click on the hashtag, it's going to show you all the posts how many posts people are using for that hashtag. So it can be like millions of posts, or it can be like 100,000 posts, or it can be like 1,000 posts that people are using. So I try to do a mix of really popular hashtags, semi-popular hashtags, and local hashtags if I'm trying to target Cleveland businesses or things like that. So I'll try to use a mix of those 3 categories. And then obviously hashtags that are just relevant to me or what I'm talking about in that post. And I'll try to stick around 5 to 10. So think of hashtags kind of like keywords. So it's, using those hashtags that your audience are searching for, that your audience is using, or that your competitors are using when you're coming up with your hashtag strategy. All right, so to tie us, to end us today on social media, I don't want to put too much out there for you guys to access. I know it's a lot. I know it's, you're, thinking of how you can, take these strategies and use them for your own business. I do want to touch on social media self-care. I think it's very important, especially with what's going on right now, to take care of yourself when you're on social media. As a social media manager myself, I spend a lot of time on social media, and, I have to take steps myself to make sure that I am not, just creating, a negative experience for me on social media, or even for my own followers. So always don't forget that you have a highlight reel too. and when you're creating content, like a lot of times I see with my clients or with other entrepreneurs is they go on social media and they see other entrepreneurs or other business owners doing really well, doing like, you know, things that they wish they were doing. And we kind of get that comparison syndrome, like, oh my gosh, I can't, you know, I'm never going to get to that level, or I'm not there yet, or I'm not good enough. So one thing that I do to combat this is you know, a lot of times what we're sharing on our social media is a lot of the good stuff that's happening to us too. So I'll sometimes go through my own social media channel and just like go through my feed and see things that I've talked about, or see things that I've said, because I'm sharing that same kind of stuff that other people are sharing. But sometimes since we're writing it and we're creating ourselves, we forget about that. So take some time to look at what all the great things that you've done. Another thing that I do on Facebook is I have an album on my personal page that's of all my testimonials. So if anyone like says something really nice about me on social media or on my website, I'll screenshot it and I'll put it in that folder. So whenever like I'm feeling like, oh, like, you know, you get crappy sometimes on social media, I'll go through back to that testimonials folder, and I'll just look through, you know, really great things that my clients have said about me. And it, you know, makes me feel better, makes me feel good. And it's also a really good tool to use for, you know, creating that social proof. Like if you're, you know, I'll also link that page to someone who wants to know what it's like to work with me. I'll say, oh, here's my testimonials folder. And it has all the really great things people have said about me, or I'll pull those testimonials out for like sales pages or things like that. So keep that in mind, that, you know, you have a highlight reel too. Don't feel like, social media a lot of times can make us feel bad about ourselves. So I think it's just important to like keep those things in mind. Also, taking social media breaks. Like there's a lot of times, you know, you might think, oh, social media managers, they don't take breaks. No, I definitely take breaks. And I encourage my clients to do that as well. Even if it's just a weekend, like I'll take 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I'll delete Facebook and Instagram and Twitter off my phone for the weekend. And I use social media schedulers. So all my clients, all their content is already planned out and scheduled for the rest of the, weeks to come. I use Hootsuite and Later are my two favorite schedulers in case anyone asks. And I'll use those to schedule content out. And then I'm off. I'm not on social media. I'm not looking at things. I'm not scrolling. And a lot of times I'll come back and I'll feel better. Like I won't feel like that comparison syndrome or that just those negative feelings that sometimes we get when we use social media a lot. So don't feel like you can't take time off social media. It's a good thing to do. And last thing, remember to be yourself. That's like the hugest thing. Like I'm really big on authentic content and just being who you are, even if it's like a nerd, if it's like, that's something that people don't like care to see, or you don't think people care to see, like they do it. The people who want to work with you or want to, I'm always like, nobody cares about my cat. Nobody cares about me sharing the stuff about my cat and, doing that fun, silly stuff. But that's a lot of times the stuff that people know me for. Like they know me as the nerd who loves my cat too much. And I talk about her all the time. And I talk about my favorite video game, The Sims. I talk about that kind of stuff. And they think of those things as, as part of who I am. It makes me different. It makes me unique. And, even if it's something that no one cares about, or it's just like a quirky thing that, is whatever, it's those things that set us apart and make us different, and also just make us feel good, because that's who we are. Like I am a nerdy cat lady who loves to play The Sims all day. Like that's who I am. If that's who you want to work with, I'm here for you. That's just kind of the message you have to present. So don't be afraid to be who you are, and people who appreciate those things are going to follow you, are going to be the people who work with you and people who take you seriously in your industry. So keep that in mind. And yeah, that's all I have. You can follow me on all these things. You can tweet me, you can Instagram me, DM me, all that good stuff here. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys. And thank you again for joining me. And I will be around for questions. I'm in the Slack channel and all that good stuff too. So.
Amazing talk. Even I myself learned a lot of things. And I would like to point out, recently TikTok has been getting negative reviews in the Android Play Store, which is affecting their productivity as well. However, you quickly mentioned something that I believe everyone should point out: to repurpose the content. If you don't like TikTok, yes, you don't have to use it. However, you can repurpose it. So Brittney, we have a lot of questions, but I have selected a few, and I'm going to ask and relay them to you. First of all, a question by one of the organizers, Amanda. Amanda asked a question which is frequently being asked to her. So she asked, Brittney, when do you think about sharing content via stories versus regular posts, and Facebook and Instagram? Is one more effective than the other? So is there a priority when you choose how you're going to share the story? Do you have like Instagram as number one, then Facebook, or even your own profile? How do you prioritize them?
Yeah, good question, Amanda. I kind of try to use Instagram stories like how they're like meant to be used. So like a lot of times I use social media, like I think the using it as a human is like what's really important. So I use it kind of as things happen in my life. So I'll share things, if I'm sharing a post on my Instagram, I will share that to my story. If I'm like, if my cat's doing something weird, like the other day I posted a really funny one where my cat, she has like a little perch above my desk and she sits up there and it looks out the window. And like, I guess from where I was sitting, I could see like her little butt. So I like took one of those Zoom features and like zoomed in on her, like, look at this little cat butt. So I just kind of use it like as I see like fun stuff coming up or as things are coming up in my business. And the biggest thing is I just try to make sure that I always have something in my story every day. So it's never like, I never see that little plus sign. There's always something. So I kind of just try to share things as they come up in my feed and then just as they come up in my life regularly.
Great. Next question comes from Laura. As a social media manager, how do you create engagement and genuine connection without being an expert in your client's industry? To what extent does a client need to help manage a Facebook group?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I do, what I do is I do like a lot of client driven like strategy, I guess. So like for my clients, I really let them kind of pick how they do things. So like I have some clients who are really hands-on, like they're very like on it. They're on their channels. They're really, they're editing content all the time, but they're all in. And I have some clients who like, I literally don't talk to them until I send them their content and they're like, that's good. And then they delete their Facebook accounts. And I have a client who has deleted her Facebook app off of her. She doesn't even use it. And I'm posting on her Facebook account.
So it varies from clientele to clientele.
Yeah, it varies like I try to like do it like how they want, like let them kind of lead on that. And I'm just on your team there to support you and however you need me to be there.
Okay, we have 3 more minutes. I will try to catch up 3 more questions. Next question is from Melissa. She asked, should you label or credit when you use stock photos for Instagram? And if you should, how?
So if you're using stock photos, the site will tell you. So wherever you get the stock photo from, it will tell you. It should tell you who the person is. But so I don't know like all the legalities of it. But normally, if you're using a stock site, like the stock site pays the people, so you're using those images, so you don't have to credit those people. When I credit people is when I'm using content if I use content that was created for me by someone that I know. So like if I have a professional photo taken, which you don't have to, because if you pay for it, and a lot of times it will vary by who the photographer is. Like some photographers are going to say like, this, I want you to credit, or it'll vary, but typically you don't need to if you're using a stock photo site, as long as you have like the proper licenses, which most of them will tell you if you do or don't. And then if it's someone that I know or someone that like is, a friend of mine or someone that I paid to like create content for me, then I'll credit them.
Okay. Next, we have a question from our volunteer moderator for this talk, Shuja. He asked, can we use the same hashtags for all the social media platforms?
So Instagram is the one that you're going to use hashtags the most. Also, I've seen LinkedIn is using a lot more hashtags. I try to do different hashtags for each post, and it doesn't mean I don't like have a whole new set, but like I'll just change up the words based on the content. Like you're not always going to most of the time be posting about the same exact thing over and over and over again. So I try to just change up the hashtags based on what I'm talking about, but of course, still relevant. So I will have a whole bunch of hashtags I can use, but I'll only use like 10 or 15 at a time and just switch them up from there.
a quick question. What are the two schedulers that you mentioned? Did you mention the schedulers that you use? That is asked by Authentic Story Creation.
Yes, so my two favorite are, I use Hootsuite for it. I love it. It's a great platform. You can do free or paid, and you can have up to 3 accounts for free.
Okay.
And I really love, they actually have a stock photo element into there, so you can like pull stock photos straight from their own platform. And then I also use Later, which is a really good one, especially for Instagram, because it will show you a preview of your Instagram. So if you're trying to create like a theme, it will show you. And it also has a place where you can upload all your photos and keep them in a library. So I like that because like if I'm working with a client, I'll just put all their photos in the library so I can pull them out as needed. So those are two and like why I like them.
That could be a very handy feature. Last question. I know we're stressing a little bit, but our viewers are very, very into this. So Nancy Darling Q asks that her work is on a very specific population, people in pain. And she is naturally part of many groups of that topic. But she worries about being exploitive, joining a group solely to spread her brand. Any thoughts on how she should approach with the social media?
Oh, good. Yeah, that's a good one. So when you're engaging in groups, I definitely do not don't go into a group with the idea of I'm going to sell or I'm going to. I go into a group specifically to be a resource. So like if I see people commenting on things, like if someone asks a social media question or a content question, I'll answer the question, or I will, or I'll post content that's relevant. And I never post my links or post promotions to myself. That's why I really talked about the importance of having your personal page branded or having some sort of connection to your business. Because if you're commenting, if I'm commenting as Brittney Oddo and I posted something really relevant that someone liked, and this has happened a lot where I post something, someone clicks on my profile and then they see my business page because it's on my personal page and they find my business through that. So that's why I kind of say it's good to have a personal page that's branded, because if you're commenting and you're just sharing value, naturally, if you're sharing value and you're being a part of the community, people are going to, we all have that, that knows you, I want to see this person, I want to know who this person is, or I want to get to know them. They're going to click on your personal profile, most likely.
Brittney, I really like that answer because you touched on many different aspects of it, not just social media. You brought in other elements as well. So thank you so much on behalf of the viewers, on behalf of the organizers of WordCamp Kent. We know this is trying times and you've been enthusiastic and you've been passionate about your speech. I would like to request our viewers to leave a feedback of the session, and your feedback helps everyone to improve on a consistent level. So the link can be found in the homepage of the official website of WordCamp Kent. Until then, Brittney, Oddo, thank you so much, and hopefully you will enjoy the rest of your weekend. We say goodbye from WordCamp Kent with the session Success on Social Media.
Thank you.
Thank you.